I was thinking about writing, and that when I wrote, the act of writing stories, in the beginning I thought, before I had experience, that one would just write the story. You would spew it forth onto the page, and which can, in certain regards, seem daunting, especially if you are writing novel-length works. But really, I think the better characterization is that writing is about flashes of light, almost like a lightning bolt, and that what the writer is doing is presenting just very brief and powerful flashes, moments, and it's so much interesting, and it took me a while to understand how much does not have to be written, in that the reader will fill in so much, which is why also footnote so much of it is subjective. If you think of it in terms of when a novel gets made into a visual medium, so many people might say, oh, I didn't imagine it that way, or oh, I saw it this way, because so much is left unsaid in the work, the written work, and can be left unsaid. And it took me a long time to realize that my task as a writer was to just present these flashes of light. And then as they get pieced together, they become a greater story. This is very similar, if not arguably identical, to Anne Lamott's talking about bird by bird as the creation of the story. Perhaps with a nuance, perhaps not. The idea was first exposed to me when I was reading an interview with Frank Miller, who did a number of things, but was an artist and wrote graphic novels. And he was talking about, in the pain of a comic book or a graphic novel, from one pain to the next, so much is not said, and it's often a vast change of image here, image A to image B, and they're very different. And he was commenting on how interesting it is that our minds fill in the gap and visually create for ourselves a story, what happened between these two panes. The artist or the writer doesn't have to fill in everything. He or she just needs to present those flashes of light. And we, the reader, the consumer, will fill in the rest. So I thought I would throw that observation or regurgitated observation out there as something to think about to the extent you are engaged in long form fiction or writing of any sort, quite frankly. But I hope you are well. I hope you go forth with goodness. I hope goodness comes to you. I hope that you smile. And when you get a moment, to check out the work of Vince Staples. What I also so much enjoyed about his music was that it was varied too, in terms of the instrumentation, and some of his music veered a little bit more towards electronic undertones, which is a form of music I enjoyed greatly, which may also explain why I enjoyed his work, although his initial stuff wasn't quite of that bent. But I hope you take a moment to listen to some of his cuts, and of course, I hope that you check out the Tao Te Ching. I love you.